Have you ever asked yourself, where does my money go? You get your paycheck, 2 weeks pass, and your balance is almost zero again. You didn't make any expensive purchases, but the money is still gone. Today, we'll figure out where your money actually goes. If you want to better understand finance, you'll like this video. Most people think that financial problems are related to complex mathematics and investment formulas, and how to plug the holes in your budget. You're on Richard Leontiev's channel. Here we talk about money in a simple and accessible way. The problem almost always lies in our daily actions. It is habits that determine whether a person will save money or live from paycheck to paycheck. But in reality, money is often lost because of habits. The truth is that numbers play a secondary role. Even a simple financial system works if a person controls their behavior. About 40% of our daily actions are performed on autopilot. This saves brain energy, but it also makes many financial decisions unconscious. Studies of human behavior reveal an interesting fact. A significant part of our daily decisions are made automatically without conscious analysis. We often don't even notice these expenses. Every day, money is spent in small amounts, but by the end of the month, it adds up to a significant amount. This means that many expenses are incurred without making a real decision. People simply repeat habitual actions that are already ingrained in their behavior. The human brain is designed to prefer instant gratification. Short-term pleasure is perceived as a signal that the action should be repeated. The main reason for such spending is the dopamine trap. This is a brain mechanism that causes us to seek quick and easy sources of pleasure. Dopamine is often called the pleasure hormone. It is this that forms the habit of returning to actions that provide a quick emotional response. Each purchase causes a small release of dopamine. This chemical causes a feeling of joy and short-term satisfaction. The same thing happens with food delivery. One convenient order turns into a permanent habit that gradually increases your monthly expenses. For example, your usual coffee on the way to work. It seems like a small purchase, but it becomes a daily ritual and imperceptibly takes root in your behavior. In fact, people don't buy the product itself. The main goal of such spending is to get a short-term emotional boost, or buying a new product. Even if you don't really need it, the moment of purchase itself creates a feeling of joy and novelty. But there is a serious problem with this mechanism. The pleasure of buying is short-lived and quickly fades away. We buy to experience a feeling of joy. The product becomes just a tool that triggers this pleasant psychological effect. This is because the brain strives for balance. Strong pleasure is often followed by a feeling of emptiness or irritation. After the emotional surge, the brain returns to its normal state. Sometimes your mood even becomes lower than before the purchase. Over time, such decisions become habitual. Purchases begin to happen automatically, without analysis or real need. To experience this pleasant emotion again, a person makes another purchase. In this way, the brain tries to reproduce this brief moment of joy. Reason 2. Social comparison. We outperform when we measure against peers. It drives ambition and highlights our edge. This is how we lead the mark. This is how a cycle of impulsive purchases gradually develops. Money is spent not on important goals, but on quick emotions and short bursts of pleasure. People rarely evaluate their own standard of living. Social comparison is one of the most powerful factors influencing financial decisions. Social networks amplify this pressure several times over. Every day, we see other people's successes and begin to think that this is a normal standard of living. Most often, we compare ourselves to others. We look at colleagues, friends, bloggers, and begin to evaluate our lives by their standards. Someone buys a new car and posts photos. We don't know how many years of debt are behind that beautiful photo. Our news feeds show us other people's cars, apartments, and travels, but they almost never show loans, debts, and real expenses. Someone starts a business and talks about freedom and success, but they rarely talk about the risk, stress, and financial losses at the beginning. Someone goes on vacation and shares photos from an expensive hotel, but we don't know how many months it will take them to pay off that debt. Internal pressure arises. You begin to feel that you are lagging behind others and must urgently catch up. And at that moment, a dangerous thought begins to form in the brain. You get the feeling that you have to live up to this standard. We buy things that we don't really need, but they help create the illusion of a successful life. And then shopping begins that is not related to real needs. Money starts to be spent for appearances. The problem is that these decisions are not made for personal comfort. They are made for the sake of others' reactions. The problem is that these decisions are not made for our own comfort. It is at this point that huge financial holes appear. expenses begin to grow faster than real income. People spend money not for themselves, they do it for approval, sympathy, and a sense of social status. Reason 3, shopping as a way to escape reality. The third reason for financial losses is not economic, but emotional. Money often becomes a tool for psychological compensation. Sometimes spending is just an emotional reaction to a difficult day. Shopping becomes a way to quickly change your mood. A person may be very tired after work, and then a small purchase seems like a reward for a difficult day. Sometimes a person feels lonely. At such moments, a purchase creates a short-term feeling of self-care. Stress also plays a big role. When stress levels are high, the brain looks for a quick way to relieve it. A purchase at this moment acts as a short emotional respite. A person feels relief and a temporary boost in mood. This is how so-called emotional spending develops. Money begins to act as a psychological tool, but this mechanism has a serious drawback. It only solves the problem for a few minutes. Emotions gradually fade away. Mood returns to normal, and sometimes even worsens. But the expenses do not disappear. The money has already been spent, and it will have to be earned again. If this pattern is repeated often, it destroys the budget. People spend more and more, ignoring the real causes of stress. Therefore, it is important to understand a simple financial fact. The emotions pass quickly, but the consequences of financial decisions remain for a long time. Reason 4. The illusion of digital money. People are used to paying with cash, and each bill felt like a physical thing, which helped them control their spending and see their true expenses. When you hand over money, your brain registers the loss, and this creates a natural filter before each purchase. Today, most payments are processed with a single touch of a phone, and the brain barely notices the process. Apple Pay, Google Pay, and bank cards all simplify payments but reduce awareness of spending because it feels like the money isn't there. The brain stops perceiving the loss and spending becomes much easier, even on large purchases. Because of this, people make many impulsive decisions without noticing how quickly money is depleting their budget. Reason 5. Lack of control. The biggest financial problem most people face is that they don't know where their money goes each month. They don't track their expenses, don't write them down, and rely on their memory, which often deceives them. They think they spend little and live wisely. But reality shows something completely different. Coffee, taxis, subscriptions, food delivery, all these small expenses seem insignificant. But together, they create serious holes in the budget and can eat up 20 to 30% of your monthly income. Lack of control turns small expenses into invisible financial losses that become significant over time. To close these holes, you need to track all your expenses and see where every dollar goes. Leave a comment. What expenses eat up most of your money? Coffee, taxis, food delivery, subscriptions. I'm curious to know which holes are the most common. How to close budget holes. First, identify and eliminate unnecessary expenses. Second, optimize your revenue streams. Finally, build a contingency fund for the future. This will ensure financial stability. If you want to control your money, you need to act systematically rather than hoping that expenses will disappear on their own. Step 1. Start tracking. Write down all your expenses, even the smallest ones, to understand where your money goes every day. Don't just check your banking app. It creates the illusion of control but doesn't give you the full picture. Record your expenses in a spreadsheet or notebook. This way, you begin to feel every penny and see the real movement of your money. When you record your expenses, you gain visual control. You begin to understand where your money is actually going and where the gaps are. Step 2. Take a break from shopping. Try to refrain from impulse purchases for 2 to 4 weeks. This helps your brain readjust and reduces the urge to spend unnecessary money. As your brain gets used to receiving fewer instant gratifications, your dopamine addiction weakens and you become more mindful of your purchases. After a few weeks, your impulse spending habit will weaken and you will be able to better control your budget without unnecessary stress. Step 3. Change your habits gradually. Don't try to change all your financial habits at once. This often leads to failure and disappointment. Choose one habit to focus on. Small steps yield sustainable results in the long run. For example, you could give up daily food deliveries or takeaway coffee, which eat up a significant portion of your budget. Once one habit is established and becomes automatic, move on to the next one. This way, the changes will be sustainable and long-lasting. Step 4. Be honest with yourself. Before each purchase, ask yourself a simple question. Why am I buying this? This will help you separate the necessary from the impulsive. Do you really need the purchase, or are you trying to impress others? An honest answer is more important than any rules. If you learn to answer honestly, you can save thousands of rubles a year and use them to truly important goals. Budget gaps are almost never related to low income. More often than not, the reason lies in habits, in unconscious spending. When you start tracking every expense and recording your spending, money will stop disappearing unnoticed and your budget will become transparent. Even small savings, if set aside regularly, will gradually turn into capital that can change your financial future. Time and compound interest work in favor of those who start saving and investing early, even with small amounts. Subscribe to Richard Leontiev's channel for practical, honest business advice, free of myths and complex terminology. Watch other videos on the channel and start building your financial system today, step by step.